Mr. Okay, Mr. Shegun is also asking, like River States. Okay, Mr. Shegun is asking, like River States example that you gave, like River State example that you gave, how easy is it to get TCC if I remit payee for staff in another state while I am in Lagos? Okay, if you are remit payee for staff in another state while you are in Lagos, how easy for it to, it depends on the states. Insofar, like I said about River State, everything is done online. You file online, you apply for your tax clearance online, you have your tax as if there's any disputes virtually. Then at the end of the day, in Lagos states, your TCC is either for individual, your TCC could also be for company. So if your TCC is for individual in Lagos State, your TCC comes in forms of a kind of, it comes in form of a card, a tax clearance card in Lagos State, and you need to update your card regularly. So in Rivers State, insofar, if the Rivers, for instance, is using a kind of card, then you can apply if you paid your taxes for your staff for up to 1 calendar year. You apply for your TCC and you will get it online, virtually. But point is that ensure that on a monthly basis they pay their payee, and the developmental levy is paid on once in a year, and any other like the uh, business premises permit is renewed, and your payroll is very clear. This is your salary, and this is tax computation. You apply for your TCC, you will get your TCC. That's for sure. And again, you can go further to protect your, when it comes to withholding tax. Withholding tax, they are not exposed to it because this River State, you're in Lagos State. So you are not, when it comes to withholding tax, you are not exposed to River State. If your company is in Lagos State, you are not exposed to River State, except your clients, I mean your vendor, resides in River State. If you have some vendor that resides in River State, then of course withholding tax. So if you are fine with your withholding tax, because state internal revenue services, they go mainly after payee and withholding tax and development levy and late filing return. If you can get those one right, you get your tax clearance. I only see in FRS office. I also need that of LRS. So, do you have sample task calendar to display here? Task calendar. There's no task calendar is everywhere now. There's no, except you mean sample task calculator, and that comes under our task calculation computation. So the task calendar for LRS, when it comes to tax, you remit your taxes before the 10th of the following month. For instance, if they pay salary for January before the 10th of February, you remitted your tax. And before the end of this month you file your tax return for 2020 accounting year. So you file your tax before the end of, so that's every month you are paying your payee, okay, and withholding tax. Withholding tax is 21st. I mean, the last day of the next month. That's the 31st of the next month, the last day of the next month. So withholding tax for December for state internal revenue services will be paid on or before 31st of January 2021. If you are doing that, you are fine. Okay, so that's the calendar. We might eventually come up with a tax calendar reminder, maybe a slide, but it's very repetitive. It's not something you can forget. Yeah. Okay. Mr. Shegun, are you okay with with our response, or for those that have answered before I continue to take questions? Since I have a lot of questions. Okay. Mr. Shegun said yes, is okay. Okay. Let me see other question. Don't forget that we have other sessions apart from these tax policy questions, and you can always ask your question in those sessions. And we'll be getting more guests from time to time. When a statement of affairs required to be filled by a company, fine. Will the company be sanctioned for not filing statement of affairs? Statement of affairs is filed when you do not operate. When you do not operate for a particular year. For instance, if you just start a business, you incorporated your business 1st of January 2018. All through January, you've not started operation. You have to file statement of affairs to show that you've not started operation. And if you've started operation, you worked in 2018, 2019, you worked, and in 2020, no work, maybe due to COVID and every other thing. In 2020, where you did not operate, you need to have communicated the tax office that you will not operate or did not operate in 2020 in writing. Then later you file your statement of affairs, for those years you did not operate. So if you not file your statement of affairs, you'll be sanctioned for not filing. It's just a return. It's part of return, just in line with return filing. You'll be sanctioned. Okay. Next question. Company with turnover below 25 million do not need to pay VAT and CIT but will file. What happens to what was bought or sold to other companies that are vatable and has been charged? What happens if the company turnover will not be more than 25 million and is now be rare than that is now Tolulope, can you explain your question? Tolu, are you there? What I think you're asking. Hello, Tolulope, are you there?
Yes, can you? Okay, what I'm trying to say is that at the beginning of the year, you saying that the company will have determined that my turnover will not more than 25 million this year. What if at the end of the year, the turnover is now more than 25 million? I don't really understand that, but I'm trying to really get it together because you're not supposed to file that because you're thinking your 25 million, you're not going to be more than 25 million at the end of the year. But at the end of the year, your turnover is now more than 25 million. So what's going to happen? That's just
what's going to happen means that you're going to pay if you do not file any month that you hit that 25 million. From the next month you start filing VAT. That's what the law says. So
it's monthly. Is it monthly? Is 25 million monthly or annually?
The filing,
the 25 million.
It's annually, but you know that when you made sales in January, when you made sales in February, you prepare your account, your management account, when you make.
And now prepare. Okay, if you now get 25 million at the end of the year, you now start.
So you don't have to prepare your management account at the end of the year. You prepare your management account monthly. Like now, in March, when you prepare your management account, you would have seen that your turnover is 25 million in March. It will only affect companies that don't prepare management accounts, that prepare their account at the end of the year. In that case, they will need to pay a lot of tax eventually.
That they've not taxed people, that they've not charged.
Yes, so they've gone against the law.
That's difficult because I don't know. What if you start charging and at the end of the year, eventually you are not up to 25 million?
You know that, okay, at the end of the year, eventually they are not up to 25 million.
Yes.
Why would they charge VAT? Okay, it depends. If you are charging VAT and you are not up to 25 million, it's good now. There's what they call voluntary compliance. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
So there's voluntary compliance. So if you charge VAT and you're not up to, that means that you've kept the company on the safer side. But that VAT you are charging, ensure you are remitting to the government. So that's where the problem will come. So if you're charging VAT, you are okay. So we always advise clients to, be on the safe side and do voluntary compliance. If they feel that they might hit 25 million, let them charge every month and pay to the government so that it won't turn to story tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Was rent on commercial property mentioned under the new Finance Act? Is rental income on commercial property vatable? Rent on commercial property was mentioned under the New Finance Act. So rental income from commercial property are not vatable anymore from the New Finance Act. Another question. For staff that earn less than 30,000 naira monthly, does the name supposed to appear on the projection list of pay in 2021? Yes, the name will appear in the list and it will